Okay, hello. By now, a number of you would have heard about the issue with the Christian girl in Katsina State, in Katsina Emirate Council. Her name is Habiba. And like I read the statement from the Emirate Council and I was really touched. I just felt compelled to address that issue. I was really touched. And then while I was preparing to address that issue, obviously on CNN, on BBC, I don't think it's on CNN yet. I watched the president in Germany and his reaction to his wife, Aisha Buhari's BBC interview. And, I have to tell you, I was stunned. I was really stunned, seeing the president and watching his reaction. Now, I need to say this: President Buhari is our president, and he deserves respect just for being our president, even for having that office. And even beyond that, I personally believe a lot of people don't believe that. Maybe they are moved by emotion or moved by something else. But I personally believe, having studied this man, if you go on Google, you see I've studied him for tens of years. I started writing about him a very long time ago. I started writing about him, I believe, in 2001. I believe this is a man that means well and has personal integrity. However, how do you say in the 21st century, in the year 2016, and then you're sitting by the most powerful woman in the world, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and then you go and say that your wife belongs in your kitchen, your wife belongs in your bedroom? Who says that? How do you say something like that? And then, yeah, if you watch the video, you see the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. She was speechless. Thank she's an astute politician. She gathered herself. But here you are, you in Germany, you appealing to the German government to assist you in technological development, in loans, in finances, and generally to develop your country. And then you are sitting beside a woman, and then you are telling the world, and the woman is there beside you, that your own wife, who basically, all she just done is that she's told you that stop blaming former President Jonathan and other people and start fixing Nigeria. That's all she said. And then you're saying that she belongs to your kitchen. What kind of thinking is that? Our president, Mr. President, if you ever get to see this, if the SSS show this to you, I'm not your enemy. Your wife, Aisha, she's not your enemy. We are your friends. People are suffering. People are buying bags of rice in Nigeria for 20,000 naira. My relations are all over with me, sending me, send me money for this, send me money for that, send me money for this. In case you don't know, people are suffering. And that's what your wife is telling you. People are suffering. The government pays for your food, the government pays for your travels, the government pays for everything. Look, you have in Nigeria, you have more than 67% of the population living in poverty. And then people are earning, they used to earn 18,000 naira under President Jonathan. That amount was what exactly $120. Today, that 18,000 naira that they used to earn as minimum wage is now what? How much? Is what I believe is just what about $30 right now. You haven't increased their salaries, yet you've increased the cost of fuel, you've increased the cost of living, the cost of bread has gone up by 300%, the cost of rice has gone up by 150%. And then your wife is telling you about this and you're saying that she belongs to your kitchen. Oh God, Lord have mercy. I don't want to go further before, I will be accused. So let me just go and focus on the main thrust of what I want to say today. That's the Emir of Katsina. The Emir of Katsina. Now, as a Christian minister, as a pastor, I cannot keep quiet, and see, about what's happening in Katsina Emirate. You see, I've just read the statement made by the Katsina Emirate Council on the issue of Habiba Isa, the 14-year-old Christian girl that allegedly converted to Islam at the Emir's palace and thereafter got married to the Emir of Katsina, His Royal Highness Alhaji Abdul Mumini Usman. Now, according to the Katsina Emirates Council statement, 14-year-old Habiba's marriage to Emir Abdul Mumini Usman is, quote unquote, irreversible. Irreversible. Can you imagine that? Irreversible. You see, the council said the marriage and Habiba's conversion to Islam were voluntarily and willingly entered into by the girl. Hello? This girl is 14 years old. Look, I sincerely urge the Katsina Emirate Council to reconsider their assertion that a girl of 14 has the capacity to not only change her religion from Christianity to Islam, but also to consent to marriage without her parents' permission. Just look about that. Look, the Emir of Katsina, in case you're not aware, I went and I did research because I don't talk without facts. If you guys follow me, you know one thing about me. I don't write, I don't talk without facts. The Emir of Katsina is 65 years old. Habiba is 14 years old. Look, 65, 14. Between them is a gap of 51 years, a 51-year age gap. The Emir is powerful, Habiba is powerless. Now, under such a situation, how can the Katsina Emirate Council justify this decision? How can they? Now, a girl of 14 years old cannot vote, and a girl of 14 years old cannot get a driver's license, which are much less complicated than marriage. So, how can she consent to marriage? How can she consent to marriage? Now, let's reverse the situation. Let us assume that a Christian living in Kano met a 14-year-old Muslim girl on her way to school or perhaps to the market or perhaps to visit her friend and engages her in conversation that leads to her conversion to Christianity and then announces to the world that they are to be married. How would that situation go down in Kano? How would that situation go down in Kano? Would it be acceptable? Would there be peace? Would there be peace? Would the Kano people allow peace if that kind of situation happens? Now, the Katsina Emirate Council should consider the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad. He should consider the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They should consider his hadith. I've read the Quran. I'm a Christian pastor. I've read the Quran. My own father was an expert in Islamic law. If you Google it, a lot of you who stayed in the north, particularly in the northwest, will know about my dad. My dad was an expert on Islamic law. I read the Quran. I know Islamic law. Look, in one of the hadiths, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "None of you believes until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself." Does the Katsina Emirate Council, do they wish for their own daughters what is happening right now to Habiba Isa? Do they wish for their own daughters? Do they wish for their own daughters to be going out and then somebody comes and converts them, allegedly 14-year-old, and then marries them? Is that what they wish for their own daughters? Is that what they wish for their own daughters? Look, think about that. Think about that. You see, the Emir is meant to be a father to all the people of Katsina Emirate. I appeal to him to consider the distress of Habiba's family. I appeal to him to consider the distress of the Christians in Katsina Emirate Council. I appeal to him to consider the distress of Christians in Nigeria. I appeal to him to consider their distress. So even if His Royal Highness Emir Abdul Mumini Usman wants to marry Habiba, at least, Your Majesty, we are begging you, let her attain the age of 18. And if we cannot wait for her to attain the age of 18, then let him get parental consent. Let him go and get a consent from her parents. If he cannot get consent from her parents, then by all means, I feel like crying. My own daughter, I've got a daughter, very beautiful. Some of you have seen my daughter. My daughter, she's 11 years old. I mean, I can just imagine, what if this were happening to my daughter? What if it were happening to your daughter? The Emir should be mindful of the fact that Nigeria is a very fragile nation, and we need respected and beloved royal fathers like His Royal Highness Alhaji Abdul Mumin Usman to help us strengthen our union. We need him to help us strengthen our union. I sincerely urge the Emirate Council to reconsider their decision. Also, I urge the body of Christ in Nigeria to exercise restraint in their reaction to this matter. Being disrespectful, using impolite and foul language against Islam, against the Emir, against the Emirate Council will not help anybody. Jesus did not do that. His disciples did not do that. So please don't do that. Don't use disrespectful language. Don't use foul language. Don't insult. Don't abuse. It is not anybody that does that. Your Christianity is in question. We need to use understanding. We need to use wisdom. We need to appeal. Look, I'm going to end this by saying this. I am confident that the Katsina Emirate Council and His Royal Highness ING Emir Abdul Mumini Usman of Katsina will do the right thing and return Habiba to her Christian family. Thank you and God bless you.